Hi, this is Tom from tdjacobs.com, and I wanted to do a video to tell you about an event coming up that I'm really excited about. It's the first webinar that I've ever done. It's on November 21st, and it's all about the true Black Moon Lilith. As many of you know, if you're aware of my work, I kind of specialize in Lilith. Sometimes I think I specialize in a bunch of archetypes that are considered minor, but Lilith is not minor. Lilith is major, and people all over the world are waking up to the need to recognize, acknowledge, and integrate the divine feminine within. That's what Lilith is all about. The focus of the webinar on November 21st will be instinct. Lilith and instinct, reconnecting to instinct, and also about the true black moon astrologically in general. So it's part of a five-part webinar series hosted by Adam Allenboss of Nightlight Astrology, and he'll do a talk as well as Eric Francis, Patricia Walsh, and Linda Hill. So this is a great lineup. Until October 15th, the normal registration fee of $95 is cut down to $60. So I encourage you, if you're going to sign up before October 15th. And you can, in the comments field of this video, I'll put the link to get more information, as well as on my homepage and on my calendar and on my courses page, tdjacobs.com/courses.html. Lilith is so important that the True Black Moon Lilith book that's called Lilith Healing the Wild is my most popular book by far. Each month the sales of that book outpace all the other over a dozen books. People are hungry to stop making the feminine wrong in all its forms, and I'm told repeatedly that the approach that I take in Lilith Healing the Wild and also the True Black Moon Lilith Natal Report is one of the very few, if not only, positive approaches to this archetype. What's happened is the archetype has been demonized through the Hebrew tradition, ancient Judaism, in order to make what can't be controlled try to control itself. Essentially, whenever you have a division of energies, a division of two things, it will get categorized into feminine and masculine. This is independent of gender, but feminine seeks to be and experience and unfold and grow and be this ecstatic experience of being, while the masculine shapes, directs, and controls in the form of our patriarchy, which has been in play for the last 6,000 years on Earth, since about the time of the advent of Judaism. And it's not to blame Judaism or make the Jews wrong for anything, but that's part of our collective learning to use some kind of religion to make the feminine wrong for being. So whenever you have the split between masculine and feminine, the masculine always tries to control, shape, or direct or contain the feminine. And what's happened is, in order to make you the right kind of person, culture shapers kind of do it broadly, not to pick on any one group, because it's really a human collective issue. But culture shapers needed to make the regular people, people who are not running everything, the masses, not embrace the feminine, but try to control it. Because if somebody can't be controlled, they're not going to shame themselves into a bunch of rules and ways of living that might not feel great, which is the function of patriarchal religion, the function of that kind of thing. So Lilith is huge because for all of our lives for the last 6,000 years on Earth, we have been exploring shaming the feminine. Lilith speaks to us. Lilith calls out. Whenever people hear about Lilith, their ears perk up. So many people write me and request readings about Lilith or have questions, and I actually put up what I call the Lilith pages on tdjacobs.com. So if you go to tdjacobs.com/lilith.html, you'll see some overviews and rundowns of Lilith and the signs and the houses and natal aspects and transits to Lilith and Lilith in relationships, different things, as well as an article that I put up there. If you're not sure if you want to get the book, Lilith Healing the Wild, or the Natal Report, you're not sure you want to tune into this webinar in November through the Evolver Learning Lab, go to this article called Notes on Lilith, which I wrote a number of years ago, in early 2007, I believe, which is almost 6.5 years ago. And I wrote it just to get my approach on paper, because I was telling the story so many times I wanted to refer people to that, and I had not yet written the book or the report or done a lot of events about Lilith. So and that's linked from that page, tjjacobs.com/Lilith.html. Sorry, I get a little tired of repeating things. So it calls out to us because it represents instinct. It represents a way for us to connect to our bodies and not shame what our bodies naturally do. Our bodies bleed. Our bodies go through healing crises. Our bodies are filled with anger sometimes. Like our bodies need to just go play in the dirt sometimes. It's like, our bodies are passionate and sexual, sometimes in unexpected, erratic ways. That's Lilith. Whatever Lilith touches in your birth chart becomes erratic and perhaps based in cycles, cyclical, but perhaps just erratic. It really depends. And Lilith in anybody's chart asks that person to connect with instinct, to honor what needs to be done and what needs to happen. Just one example for me, my own Lilith is in a stellium with Neptune, Mercury, and Moon. It's about a degree away from my Neptune in Sagittarius in the second. And Mercury is just about in the third, and Moon is in the third. So second house, third house, Sagittarius. For me, my thinking and my writing, Mercury and the third house, and my feeling, Moon, they are erratic. I can't predict when I'm going to write. I know people who say, oh, I have this deadline, and I'm going to work, and if I do, this many hours each day or 5 days a week, then I'll be able to get there. No way. Not for me. I have to allow inspiration to strike, and I never know. Maybe I'm going to write 200 words today. Maybe I'm going to write 6,000 or 7,000. It happens, just like this erratic pouring out of information. Again, with Neptune there, also how I channel happens that way too. So lots of instinct involved for me. But wherever Lilith is in the chart, you need to honor instinct. And that's what I'm going to really get into with this webinar on the 21st of November that I'm really excited about. And also, keep your radar up, because starting January 19th, and it's a few months away, but I'm planning ahead because it's kind of an exciting event. It's going to be a 6-week workshop on the true black moon Lilith in your chart and the asteroid Lilith, because I use both. I don't use the dark moon because nobody's ever seen it, and I just can't justify using something imaginary. But the asteroid is real; people have seen it, and the true black moon is a function of the moon's orbit around the Earth, and so it's a point. But anyway, a 6-week workshop for a small group of people. Each week, one person's chart will be used to explore both Liliths or all Lilith issues, and so the person is essentially going to get a reading, but then everybody can talk about it and ask questions of me and the client. I just did that with the family sessions course, where I had a person talking about family issues, like a client, and then I had 5 people in the class who could ask questions, and we could all kind of share notes. With the Lilith thing, it's going to be essentially 9 hours over the 6 weeks, an hour and a half each week, of an intensive experience for you to learn about how Lilith shows up in people's lives and how to come out of Lilith issues and heal them. Because the other thing that is so important every time I talk about Lilith that I want to get across is that most people think that you have to be angry or vengeful or bitter or negative if you're going to be a Lilith figure, because that's where the cultural teaching stops. The cultural teaching says if you're going to be Lilith, if you're not going to be controllable, if you're going to go off on your own and do what you think is best for you, then you're going to be punished and things are going to suck and nobody's going to like you and people are going to fear you. And that's how the myth comes down to us. And in Lilith Healing the Wild, I lay out a 9-stage archetypal process to use to intentionally move through Lilith issues with consciousness, really understanding what the archetype requires in us. And the number 5 is anger and rage. And the cultural teaching says if you're Lilith, you have to be angry, and that's where it stops. So I explained the previous 4, give you that one, and then I give you 4 to come out of it. So this is really powerful work, but we're craving it. We're craving it. We're tired of shaming ourselves just because we naturally have feminine energy as well as masculine, but the culture seems to dictate that we have a relationship with the masculine energy and kind of put up and tolerate with the feminine. But we don't have to be angry. This is another archetype that I'm diving into, or have dived into headlong. It was the first one. I started doing this years ago, of saying, I'm told it's negative. There's another story. There's got to be another story, because that's baloney. That to have an archetype that's a part of us that's just painted in a negative light. So I've done that with Lucifer as well, and there'll be more work on Lucifer as well. But anyway, I'm excited about this webinar. I'm excited to spend some more time focusing on Lilith. Oh, that January event is what I was talking about. It'll be a 9-hour intensive where I teach you how to move through the stages of the archetype, not just getting stuck with anger, not getting stuck in what it seems like Lilith is about, but actually what it can be about, which is a reconnection to the divine feminine within and the earthy, physical, visceral, raw feeling feminine. And when you do that, your inner masculine takes a certain place in balance. And so when it, I don't favor dissing the masculine in favor of the feminine just because we've been, weighted towards the masculine for so long, but I encourage getting a balance. But we have to feed Lilith and within us on a regular basis, and we have to heal what we carry about negative treatment because of Lilith from the past. So that's what I have for you today. But I want you to sign up for this webinar and check out the January 19th 6-week intensive on Lilith, and you can get all that info through tdjacobs.com. Bye bye.